Greetings guys, and thank you for tuning in to another video. Normally on the channel I make some videos with my 350Z. However, today the daily is going to be getting a little bit of maintenance / attention because we're going to be replacing some clunky sway bar end links. Overall, I've been quite happy actually with my Mazda. In fact, this is my third Mazda. I used to have a Mazda Protege 5, and then I have my Mazda 3 hatchback now, and then a CX-5, which is my wife's car. However, as with all cars, eventually you do have to do some routine maintenance, and sway bar end links are fairly simple, fairly common things that eventually may need to get done. In terms of clunking noises coming from suspension, a very common culprit when it comes to clunking noises in the suspension is sway bar end links, because basically the little ball joints in here end up wearing out from just debris that gets on in there, and then you get this metal on metal, somewhat very particular noise, excuse me, that ends up giving you a cue that it's probably the sway bar links that need to be replaced. I'm not sure how audible it's going to be on camera, but I'm going to try to show you what I mean in terms of what this noise actually sounds like. It's somewhat distinct. Click, clunk, click, clunk, clunk, clunk. I'm not sure how well you guys will be able to hear, but try to listen to the clunking noises here. A little bit right there. They're faint. Again, not sure how well they'll pick up. Could really hear a few over here. I hope they're actually audible on the camera. I've talked about sway bar end links versus strut tower braces in one of my Z videos on the channel, but just to reiterate, sway bar end links connect the sway bar, aka the anti-roll bar. So these guys function in terms of car body roll, particularly when going around the corner, obviously, and they go on the bottom part of the car, typically connecting the sway bar to the strut towers themselves. Now, a strut bar, which is a strut tower brace, goes on the top of the car, and that's a little different, so don't get the two confused. The strut tower bar / brace, the primary function of that is actually to prevent chassis twisting, as opposed to the sway bar preventing body roll. So when replacing your sway bar end links, you obviously want to do both sides. You don't want to just replace one, even if only one is the culprit. When you're doing it, you do want to get the car up in the air on both sides, not just on one side, because if you're doing one side at a time and you only have the car up in the air on one side, you're going to get some binding and things aren't going to be quite lined up properly, so it won't be as easy to take off the sway bar end link and to put the new one on, and then you might actually not be able to do it quite properly because of that. So get the car up in the air on both sides. Here is your sway bar end link, which connects the strut tower up here to the sway bar down here. The sway bar runs all the way to the other side and then connects both sides. One of the ways that you can actually see or try to tell if these are ready to be replaced is by hitting this and seeing if it makes some noise. So when I hit this, it actually does make some clunking noise down here. Try to see if you can hear this. And that's the clunking noise that we hear / feel in the steering when we go over bumps, particularly with a rough road, such as some of the roads that we have here in Pennsylvania, which have lots and lots of potholes. here's what it looks like on the other side. Now the install for this is quite simple, so that's why I'm showing you guys this. This is something that you could do yourselves if you're interested in working on your vehicle, as opposed to having a mechanic do this for you. So the first thing we're going to do is obviously take both of these off on each side. So what I usually do is spray these guys down with some WD-40 on both of the sides, let them sit for a little bit to loosen those up. That way you can get this off easily. And then since the car is up in the air on both sides, we'll be able to align the new ones on quite easily, because we'll be able to maneuver the sway bar down here. There's different designs for sway bar end links and how they attach. I'm not a huge fan of these, because these, the inner part is round as opposed to something that you're able to actually grab with a wrench. And then there's inside here, I'm not sure how well it's focusing, a little area for an Allen key. So if these don't come off with just an impact gun, depending on what's going on, you actually have to put an Allen key inside and then use a wrench to hold it so that you're able to get these off. And depending on how rusted they are, that could be a challenge, at least for the taking off part. The putting on part typically ends up being simpler. So old one is off and the new one is on. So obviously do that same thing to the opposite side, and then you will be all set. You can put the car on the ground and say bye-bye to the clunking noises. As always, guys, thank you so much for watching. I hope this video may have been beneficial to you in terms of figuring out what is causing your clunking noises, and if it is the sway bar end links, being able to replace them. As always, if you have any questions, please just drop a comment down below and I'll be sure to get back to you, and I'll see you next time.